What's up, everybody? So I went to see Deadpool 2 on its opening night, actually on Thursday night. And for me, it was a movie I really wanted to go in and see right away. I definitely was worried about, some spoilers getting out there and jokes being ruined and things like that. So yeah, I wanted to make sure I went ahead and saw it right away. And I am glad that I did go see it right away. So, within this video, I'm going to share my basic review of the movie. And this will be spoiler free. I decided to keep this completely spoiler free just because I feel like this is, even though Deadpool is very popular, I don't feel like people have really rushed out to see this right away like they did with Infinity War. Now, of course, there are some hardcore fans that are like me. They had to see it right away, but overall, I feel like there's some people that may have waited, wait to see what the reviews are like more, and to, basically wait till the audience dies down some. So yeah, that's why I'm just going to go ahead and keep this completely spoiler free. Now, of course, I will address aspects of the movie that you could see in the trailer, so yeah, like I said, other than that, I'm going to do my best to try to keep this spoiler free. So, yeah, the movie, I gotta go ahead and start off with the negatives. And I will say right up front that I was somewhat disappointed. Now, you have to understand that the first Deadpool movie is my favorite comic book movie of all time. And I'm serious about that. Like, I've put a lot of thought into this, and yeah, it is absolutely my favorite comic book movie of all time. Yes, even more so than The Dark Knight. I love The Dark Knight too. Heath Ledger as Joker, brilliant. But that movie, I do feel like the third act of it really dragged for me personally, and it kind of brought down the movie some, even though, still a great movie. But yeah, Deadpool, for me, it just hit all of the right notes, especially as far as bringing a character to the big screen the way that you expect them to be. Like, it nailed it. So much props to Ryan Reynolds for that. And I also love that the movie, they jokingly promoted it as like a Valentine's Day movie, and it came out around that time. So, but it actually did have a good love story within it, and that's another great thing I like about it. And yet at the same time, it was dark and it had humor to it. It worked on a lot of levels. So I absolutely love that movie. So I had high expectations going into the second one, and yeah, I do want to go ahead and address the negatives that I saw with the movie. The first half of it, to me, honestly, is dull. It takes a while to really get going. And as a matter of fact, it starts off very much focused on Deadpool himself, which is not necessarily a problematic thing, but there are some weak scenes in the movie, basically. In fact, there's one particular scene to me that kind of dragged, and I was just like, it's not very funny. It's not really hitting on a dramatic level either. I was bored by it, honestly, and if you've seen the movie, you could ask me about that down in the comments. We could discuss it there. And you all do be careful within the comments, because some people may address spoilers there, and I may discuss spoilers with some people that have seen it. So yeah, just be careful about that there. But and by the way, I love this pop. I'm not trying to get all these Deadpool pops that are coming out, because you see there are quite a lot of them. And Funko once again going all out for Deadpool, which I think they're doing better this time than they did around the time of the first Deadpool movie, because there was a lot of color variants and things like that, and very simple differences with Deadpool. Whereas here, they do look different, more they stand apart from each other a lot more than they did previously. I do want to get Pandapool for sure, though. That's definitely one that I would like to get and add to my collection. They don't show on here Deadpool on the scooter. That's kind of curious, but yeah, that is one that's on the way as well. But yeah, this pop here, love it, especially like that it's King Deadpool and he's actually holding a burger, so that's pretty clever. Okay, but getting back to the movie though, yeah, the first half of it to me is kind of dull, and it does liven up some once certain other characters come into the movie. And I'll say this as well. Another negative is there are some running gags in the movie, and if you're not familiar with that term, that basically means a joke that repeats and it comes up again and again. There were some running gags that just weren't funny. I'm like, it wasn't funny the first time, so once you've heard it like 2 more times, it still doesn't do anything for you. So yeah, I thought that was kind of weak. There are some jokes that they should have just let go of, basically. Also, and speaking of not funny, TJ Miller just did not do it for me as Weasel in this movie. I liked him in the first. I thought he really added to the first movie. The problem here, though, is he's pretty much doing everything that he did in the first movie all over again, and it doesn't work. And there's one particular scene that features him and another character without Deadpool, and that scene was just not funny at all. It was really meant to be funny, and it just didn't work for me. I already knew, and the problem with the scene is you already knew where it was going based off of the way his character was in the first movie. So it almost felt pointless. Like they could have shortened that up and yeah, just moved along very quickly because it just didn't work for me. So yeah, he was disappointing in this. Also, there is a mid-credit sequence. Don't stay all the way till after the credits because there's nothing there. But there is a mid-credit sequence that is both positive and negative, and I can't really say more than that. I'll just say that I like it for its humor. In terms of its plot, though, it kind of it takes away from one of the stronger elements of the plot. I'll just say that. And again, if you've seen the movie, I think you know what I'm talking about. So it kind of to a certain extent, it just makes something major that happened within the movie almost irrelevant in a way. But you know, that's something I'm sure that people could argue, but for me, I don't know, it left me feeling a little bit cold with the movie in the end. But overall, though, you know, the last half of the movie was much stronger, and I do want to go ahead and get into the positives because for me, there's definitely more positives than negatives with the movie. I mean, first of all, big positive, of course, is Ryan Reynolds himself. Once again, he nails this role. It's like he was born to play this character. It's one of those points where he jokes about Wolverine a lot, and it's kind of like that thing with Hugh Jackman where it's so tough to imagine somebody other than Hugh Jackman being Wolverine. I mean, seriously, try to imagine somebody else being Deadpool. It's really tough to even think of that. So yeah, Ryan Reynolds was just amazing once again. I liked his girlfriend as well. Once again, Vanessa. I thought you know, what she had to work with, she did well with, and of course their relationship being so important, which again is not something I expected to be a big aspect of this franchise, but it's really helped quite a lot to add some heart to it and to ground it some. Also, you may have heard this already from other reviewers, other reviews and everything, that Domino is a standout character, and yes, Zazie Beetz nailed it. Like, she just did such a great job, and I love the way that her powers are shown within the movie. I was kind of wondering how they were going to show her power, and if you're not familiar with the character, basically her power is luck. And so I mean, you think about it, that could be a tough thing to show, but no, like she really is a standout character within this movie, and I really look forward to seeing her again, you know, in the future. Of course, got to talk about Cable, because Cable is a big character within this movie. I feel like I wanted to see more from him, honestly, and that is because Josh Brolin, he did a good job. At first, when they first showed him and everything, I was a little bit worried about his look, but apparently it was just something that he was rocking for his time travel or whatever, you know, that type of thing. So the look of the character, it's good overall. Not exactly perfect, you know, comic book perfect, but that doesn't always work anyway. But I would say overall the important elements for Cable are there. A lot of it feels very surface level though, but you got to look at it though and understand that it's not his movie. You know, I know some reviewers have kind of put that down and said they should have done more with him, but again, it's not his movie, and I think what's there with him is strong enough. But yeah, I do hope they delve a little bit deeper in the future. It's going to be tough though, because Cable has one of the most unnecessarily complex backgrounds in comics, and that's saying a lot because there's a lot of crazy backgrounds in comics. But yeah, Cable's is very tough to get across, especially to a mainstream audience. So with what they had to work with from the comics, I think they did a pretty good job with Cable overall. And by the way, the action scenes featuring Cable, just epic. Like, you can tell this director knows what he's doing with action. This is the guy, after all, that directed, I believe he directed the first John Wick, and he had directed Atomic Blonde, which I haven't seen that movie yet. I am going to rent it. And I did see an action sequence from that movie though, and yeah, he knows action. So the action is really good, especially in the last half. Also, Colossus. This was a standout movie for Colossus, for sure. I liked Colossus in the first, but man, does he really get to shine in this movie. If you're a Colossus fan, I think you're going to absolutely love him in this movie. And it was really interesting to see the way that he and Deadpool kind of had an effect on each other to an extent. Of course, Deadpool's going to be Deadpool. You know, he can be a psychopath, basically a murderous psychopath. But it was still interesting to see that they actually did have an effect on each other. That was a very, very cool. It felt more like a friendship, much more so than in the first movie. Blind Al doesn't have a lot to do in this movie, but she's pretty good once again. Actually, I think she helps to bring some heart to the movie as well, and that she actually cares for Deadpool, even though he's crazy and he's rude to her and everything. You know, it's still, I like their relationship. That works for me. I will say also, stay away from spoilers if you can, if you have not seen this yet, because there are some great cameos in this movie. There are some nice surprises. It really does bug me that there are some people that are careless and they're putting things in their thumbnail that give away elements of the movie. I cannot stand when people do that. This movie is still way too new for people to do that. You know, it's been out less than a week at the point of me recording this. So yeah, I really wish people would be more careful about spoilers, because there really are some great surprises in this movie. And that's one thing that I can definitely give props to this movie for. It really does subvert your expectations about what is going to happen. There's a particular sequence that goes down, and I was just like in disbelief watching it. And I mean, I was laughing, but I was just like, I cannot believe that they did this. And you can't say that very often about certain, you know, about comic book movies. I mean, obviously we can say that about Infinity War, you know, but it was nice to see that as well with Deadpool 2, that they really went for it with something that I just did not expect. So that was a pleasant surprise. And I'll say this, I mentioned the mid-credit sequence but previously as being sort of a negative, but it is a positive as well. It does some clever things and some things that are almost like, it was like actually nice to see them, that they did acknowledge certain things about Deadpool's movie history and everything, you know, because we know where the character started off and things like that. And just even Ryan Reynolds has had kind of a rough road as far as superhero movies are concerned, but you know, he's here now and he's done a great thing with Deadpool. And overall, I would say Deadpool 2 is definitely worth checking out if you are a fan of the character. Yeah, it's just, and it's a bigger movie than the first movie, but they don't overdo it. I would say there is some CG within the movie that some people complained about. I think it worked. You got to remember, it's a comic book movie. Things are not always going to be picture perfect, and how could they be, you know, when it's based off of a comic, and you know you have these larger than life things taking place. So overall, I was really happy with the look of the movie, and yeah, it's worth a watch. To me, it's not as good as the first. I know some people think it's better than the first. I wonder how they'll feel about it long term. But for me personally, I like the first a lot more. But this was still a solid movie. But yeah, I really want to hear your thoughts about the Deadpool 2 movie. Have you seen it yet? You know, if you've seen it, definitely give me your own, you know, mini review down in the comments. If you have not seen it yet, let me know if you're planning on checking it out. You know, why or why not, you know, if you're going to go see it. Yeah, I just want to hear your thoughts about it. But you all let me know also about the pops, you know, as far as the Deadpool figures are concerned. Are you picking these up as well? Did you grab this figure here? I think it's worth it. I think this is a great one. And I'm definitely looking forward to Pandapool. Got to get Pandapool. Fingers crossed that I'll get the chase, but I know that's slim chance. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Get out there, enjoy Deadpool 2, and I will talk to you all again real soon.